Hello and welcome class 12 commerce students. Already I have told you that there are two forms of communication in my previous video. That is formal communication and informal communication. Formal and informal communication. Now today I will tell you clearly about this formal and informal communication and also explain their advantage and disadvantage. The pros and cons both of them are having. Now first I will talk about this formal communication. I told you it is mostly expressed in written form, that is black and white. It is generally authorized, well planned. So you can call it comes in a written form. It is expressed, it is generally authorized and well planned. Also, it is laid down the path of communication, that is, it follows the line of authority. It refers to the flow of communication through official chain of authority. It also it also follows the official chain. Official chain of authority. It helps in fixation of authority responsibility relationship. It is mostly articulate, direct, and has official backing. It is orderly, systematic, and does not actually it gives the actual and fresh information. So it is systematic, orderly. All these are the pros, but these also suffers from this formal form of communication, also suffers from some kind of limitations. So now let's talk about the limitations. The limitations that the formal communication faces is it is generally, it takes time. You write something and then you have to send the writing message to somebody will read it when that you don't know. So the receiver of the message receives the message at a long, after a long time gap, and then he gives the feedback. So it is a time consuming process, it is a slow moving process. That is the main limitation of this formal communication, that is, it is a slow moving and time consuming process. Slow moving and time consuming or time taking process. So now it obstructs free and uninterrupted flow of information. It obstructs free transmission of message. Free transmission of message. It is routed through more than one authority level. It is mostly conveyed in impersonal manner. So in an impersonal manner, and it is not suitable for upward communication. That means when it in an organization, when it is flowing from bottom level to the upward level, generally formal form of communication is not followed. So it is not followed when it is followed by the people of the lower level, people of the bottom level. So it is always followed by the people of the top authority or the top level. They always prefer this formal form of communication to flow information or to convey some message to the subordinates or to the employees who lie in the bottom level of the organization. So this is all about the pros and cons of formal. Now comes the informal communication. I told you it is also called the network of this informal form of communication is also called grapevine. It is also called grapevine method. It offers social satisfaction of the employees because they can talk over whatever expression people chooses for, uh, gives them satisfaction. If they chooses to talk, sit and talk and express their ideas and shares opinions, then they feel much more satisfaction than the writing form of communication, the formal form of communication. Always the informal form of communication tends to satisfy somebody than the formal form of communication. So informal is, that is why it is preferable, because it tends to satisfy any person, because somebody can express his feelings through talking, through verbal form of communication, rather than writing cannot bring that expression and cannot satisfy people. So mental satisfaction depends on this informal way of communication. So this helps individual to communicate such matters that do not official, that is not offered by this formal form of communication. So there is a social satisfaction. There is a social satisfaction conveyed, mostly conveyed, and also it travels faster. It travels faster than formal form of communication. Travels faster than formal form of communication, because it is easy. If you call somebody over through phone, the channel you choose, suppose you choose a mobile phone to talk over somebody, so it takes a very, you call it and express your opinion or feeling or your ideas, so it takes less time. So it is faster communication than the written form of communication, which takes much time. So it serves to fill gaps. It fill gaps, tends to fill gaps, which the formal form of communication cannot. But it enables management to ascertain employees' attitude. It helps to understand the interpersonal relationship, the attitude of the employee through informal way of communication helps to know the attitude of the employees. It is more effective and powerful in reducing the stress of work, because if you can talk over, you can reduce your stress to a great level. Then it provides psychological and moral support to the worker, but it has certain disadvantage, like it spread rumors. It is full of half truth, and it is full of distorted information, often. Unsystematic, difficult to trace the source, does not find suitable for communicating confidential messages, not possible to fix the responsibility. So source cannot be located. I mean, nobody is ready to take the responsibility of who has passed the information. So source cannot be located. Unsystematic. Then it leads to develop misunderstandings. So not possible to fix the responsibility, cause misunderstandings. So you can see over, I have written all the pros and cons that the both the communication is having, formal communication and informal communication. You can see that formal communication is having so much of advantages, but at the same time it suffers from a lot of limitations, whereas informal form of communication has its own pros and cons. All I have written in a chart form so that it is helpful for you to understand. More I will explain you in the online and offline classes. uh, so I think you have a clear conception now. You can get a clear conception of these two important forms of communication: formal and informal way of communication, written and verbal way of communication. orderly, systematic and grapevine form of communication. Objective may come, what is grapevine way of communication? An option may be given, 4 options will be given to you. Your answer will be informal way of communication is called grapevine. Why? That I will explain to you in my next class. So wait till my next class. Thank you. Goodbye.